Welcome to this course on Elements of Mechanical Engineering. My name is Atchuta Ramacharyulu and I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. We are currently studying about outcome-based education, which is a very important topic when we are studying engineering education. We'll try to understand what is outcome-based education and how it is implemented, why it is invented, why it is being used for most of the engineering and other colleges. We should understand the basic philosophy of outcome-based education. Now, when we are studying this particular course called Elements of Mechanical Engineering, we have 5 modules where each module will contain a course outcome. So each course outcome has to be reached by each and every student who is studying this course. So all the course outcomes should be in line with the program outcomes, which are also called as graduate attributes, whereas these graduate attributes will measure and they will make a engineering graduate student eligible for their graduation, and also their graduation itself or their degree, which upon attaining these 12 program outcomes or engineering graduate attributes, they have attained these 12 attributes by studying all the courses. So that is why most of the COs and program outcomes or engineering attributes, they have to be mapped in such a manner where they can use or helpful the students for studying in other countries as well. Now let us see why this outcome-based education is implemented in India and how important is this OBE when coming to engineering education. So in IITs, IISc, NITs and IIITs and university engineering colleges started planning and developing outcome-based systems during the academic year 2015 and 16. Why is the outcome-based education is needed? Because every part or every course of this engineering education has to be predefined. They has to have some outcomes. Without an outcome, a subject or a course will not be useful. They have to use them in some manner. They have to use this knowledge that is learned from a particular course. They have to use this in some area of engineering in their future. So, before 2015 and 16, there were no outcome-based education concept in the field of engineering, particularly in India. But other countries are following this outcome-based education where they have to follow a certain guidelines and principles while studying the engineering courses. Where back in the year 2014, people or students who are studying engineering education, when they went to higher studies in other countries, where they are lagging in some aspects like communication and some aspects like the engineering courses which are taught in India, even by the IITs and NITs, they are not recognized as regular courses. They are not recognized as fully graduate courses by the foreign universities. That is when all the premier institutes in India combinedly started thinking about this outcome-based education and its implementation in the graduation engineering. So, started in 2015 and 16, the outcome-based education was developed and it has been studied thoroughly from various countries and their universities. And in the year 2016-17, in this academic year, the outcome-based education was first introduced to first-year courses only. We know the first year of engineering will have basic courses like mathematics, physics and chemistry. Whereas they are not completely engineering related courses, yet they have to be studied as a basic courses for understanding the different concepts of engineering, particularly mechanical engineering. So, lead institutes will guide autonomous institutes and deemed universities. So, back in the year 2016 and 17, the institutions like IIT, NITs and other premier universities, they will guide autonomous institutes and deemed universities for implementing this outcome based education. They have signed this agreement. All the IITs and NITs, first they will try to implement their outcome based education in their first year courses only, and after that, the first year they have studied how outcome based is very useful and how it is implemented. Now they will guide all the other autonomous bodies, autonomous institutions, and deemed universities, so that these institutes also follow the outcome based education. So the university engineering colleges will guide, train, and counsel the affiliated engineering colleges like ours. So whenever we take the university engineering colleges like JNTU University, JNTU Hyderabad, or JNTU Anantapur, etc. So these university engineering colleges will guide their affiliated colleges, because there are more affiliated colleges than autonomous colleges. That is why, so these colleges will be trained by the university. So after 4 years, the autonomous and deemed universities are free to conduct their own OBE program, and lead institutes will review them. So this is all what happened back in the year 2015 and 16. So after 4 years of training, continuously implementing the OBE, all the deemed and autonomous colleges, they can have their own OBE program, or they can lead institutes will review them also. Like IITs and NITs will review the OBE process of these colleges. Okay. Now this is the implementation of OBE in India. So what is outcome based education? So it is a student centered learning philosophy and focuses on measuring student performance. Why OBE has been introduced in the curriculum or in engineering? So it is a student centered learning philosophy. Whenever a student is studying a course, he has to know the outcomes of the particular course. He should know if these outcomes are mapping to the program outcomes or the engineering graduate attributes. So there are 12 graduate attributes which we are going to see in shortly. So every engineering graduate has to meet all the 12 engineering graduate attributes in order to have a degree. This degree is valid worldwide. Why OBE is particularly chosen for this attaining the graduate attributes? Because OBE is the one which is student-centric learning process. So student has to be taken into consideration when a particular topic is taught, or when a particular course is chosen. Student-centric process will be there. So student is the key component in this entire OBE structure. So it is in contrast with the traditional education. So in traditional education, what is done is, in traditional education, before the outcome-based education was introduced in India, so traditionally all the engineering colleges used to teach a course based on the knowledge of particular professor or assistant professor. If they know that particular course, they will teach, or they will have a set of courses from which they can choose as an elective. So these electives are also taken by the professors only. If they have knowledge, they will teach better. If they don't have, they won't teach that much better. It includes many pedagogical models and ideas such as project-based learning, working cooperatively, block scheduling, etc. So the outcome-based education itself contains some very good models like project-based learning, working cooperatively, block scheduling. So all these are implemented in some manner where they are subjected to all these types of particular models, like pedagogical models are developed in the particular manner where student-centric learning is kept in mind. It does not specify a particular way of teaching, but it requires students to demonstrate that they have learned required skills. Okay, so outcome-based education does not imply that student has to learn. It also study how students are going to learn, what students are going to learn. It does not specify a particular way of teaching, but it requires the students to learn particular thing, to learn a skill. It does not indicate how we have to teach as a teacher. It indicates how the student is receiving it, how the student is acquiring a skill. And then It is a system which leads to outcome-based curriculum. So because if all the institutes in India follow outcome-based education, they have to follow this outcome-based curriculum as well. So they have to frame all the topics, and all the outcome-based courses will be made accordingly. So after the outcome-based curriculum, the engineering colleges has to follow outcome-based learning as well. So it is called as OBL, whereas outcome-based assessment and evaluation is also important, OBAE. When we are using this outcome-based curriculum, we have to make the students to learn in an outcome-based way, whereas they have to be assessed with the help of this outcome-based education only. So on this phase, we have to use completely the outcome-based education model, starting from teaching, learning, and assessment as well. So let us see what are the key constituents of OBE. So outcome-based education has some key components upon which it is developed. So they are graduate attributes. The first component of OBE is graduate attributes. Every engineering graduate has to attain, or he has to complete all the 12 engineering graduate attributes, where he will, upon attaining these attributes, he will be able to do a particular job or to study further, so that he has the ability or the eligibility to get the graduate degree. So if he does not meet all the 12 attributes, he is not eligible to get a degree. And the second component of OBE is vision, and the third one is mission. So when we talk about vision and mission, so every engineering institute should have this a particular vision and mission when they are offering particular graduate courses. Okay, vision itself indicates what the institute is going to do when they are studying the engineering graduates, and mission itself indicates what the students are going to learn after, what the institute is offering them after the completion of engineering program. And then we have program educational objectives, which are also very important. And then we have program outcomes. Particular program like Bachelors of Technology or Masters of Technology has their own program outcomes. So course objectives, what a particular course will be giving or what it will be offering by the end of the course, what you are going to learn. And then we have course outcomes. So course outcomes are the key components of course, based on which the particular course will offer you upon completing the course. And then these are the key components of OBE. We are going to see in detail about all these components. And then we have stakeholders of OBE. Who are the stakeholders of outcome-based education? So the first stakeholder of outcome-based education is faculty, because he is the one who will be implementing the OBE in the institute. He has to know what OBE is. He has to understand what OBE, and he has to understand how to implement OBE in the institute and particularly teaching. And then the second stakeholder of OBE is student. So student has to have an idea what OBE and how OBE helps him to achieve his goals. How OBE will help him in order to attain the 12 graduate attributes. And then we have parents. Parents are also comes under this stakeholders of OBE. And then industry. Very importantly, industry is the key component of the stakeholders of OBE, because every industry has their own requirements. The industry has to give some kind of feedback from which we can change or we can modify the curriculum so that the particular graduate student will attain the requirements of the industry. And alumni. So the students who have completed their engineering graduation, so they also will have to give some form of feedback from which we can modify our outcome-based education program. because they might be seeing what the outside world. They will know what the practical exposure. So they will understand what the industry or the market is looking for. They will give some feedback, and this feedback is also implemented, and the program or the courses are modified accordingly to the feedback taken from all these stakeholders. And then management is also a key component of this stakeholder. So in outcome based education, feedback is taken from all these stakeholders like faculty, students, parents, industry, alumni, management. So all these stakeholders will give feedback at some time. This feedback is used to convert or change the outcome based curriculum. This feedback has to be used to change particular course or change the program structure itself, or they have to change the entire outcome based education system. That is why this OBE is also called as a dynamic curriculum program. So when industry's requirement is different, we have to change a particular course. We have to remove some courses which are not used by industry. For example, we take artificial intelligence and machine learning are very rampantly used in the industry nowadays. So if we don't study this artificial intelligence in the graduation, we cannot meet the requirement. They cannot offer you a job. So that is why the engineering program has to be dynamic one. It has to be changed constantly in order to reach the requirements, in order to meet the requirements of the industry or the market. Okay, so these are the key stakeholders of OBE. And then approach of outcome based education. There are two broad approaches of OBE. One focuses on mastery of traditional subject related academic outcomes, and the second one is cross discipline outcomes such as ability to solve problems and work cooperatively, which are directly related to students' future life roles. So see here, there are two broad approaches of outcome based education. One focuses on the traditional subject related courses, like all the engineering courses are taught in a particular way and has to be studied, and they should get this knowledge about the engineering courses. And the second approach of the outcome based education is the student should have cross discipline outcome, like they have to work with the students of other departments, or they have to have the ability to work with group. They have to work cooperatively, which is directly related to future's life role, because after they enter into an organization or if they join a job, they have to work in teams, they have to work collectively. So this kind of environment has to be inculcated in the engineering institutes itself, so that the students have the ability to work cooperatively and collectively, teamwork, and also ability to solve problems. So all these things are inculcated into the outcome based curriculum in some form of course. Like we have Exceed in our institute. Like Exceed is a course offered to engineering students where experiential learning is inculcated, where the students has to come up with some ideas. They have to come up with their own ideas, which can be incubated or it can be modified into a real-time product. So this type of problem solving ability has to be inculcated itself in the institute. When they enter into the real world where the industry and market are very fast, the student has to withstand all those conditions if he is prepared itself in the institute. And then let us see what are the advantages of outcome based education. So learner will know exactly what to expect from the course. The student will know how to expect and what to expect from the course, and requires that international best practices be incorporated in the design. So if we go to a foreign country for doing his masters, he should have the international standards. So if these international standards has been followed here itself in India in his own institute, so he would be able to cope up with the foreign universities while studying his masters. and assess graduates in knowledge, skill, and attitudes to be industry ready. So whenever a student is being writing or assessed, so he should be assessed in such a manner that he has the knowledge and skill that is useful for the industry. So the student should be industry ready. So the next one is balances various components of curriculum like knowledge and skill. There are two types of things which are mistakenly understood same, but knowledge and skill both are different. When you have some information about a particular engineering course, that is knowledge. If you apply it somewhere, then it can be called as skill. So this knowledge and skill, this has to be balanced. They has to be balanced in the curriculum and focuses on the objective and outcomes of the program. So the outcome based education has to focus on the objective and outcome of each and every program. The program itself states that different courses will have different course objectives and encourages continuous improvement in the curriculum. This is also called as dynamic curriculum, where the outcome based education is a continuous development is there in curriculum. So curriculum is continuously modified, and if the industry wants something, it has to be inculcated into the curriculum so that the students will be able to reach the industry requirement. And then some disadvantages of outcome based education also. So this is a new system to adapt. It is one of the disadvantage and requires all materials to be rewritten, which requires major time and resource investment, because traditionally we have followed a normal system for engineering teaching. Now when we follow this outcome based education, we have to rewrite all the documents, we have to change everything. The engineering courses will be same, but the components which require the outcome based assessment or teaching learning process, it has to be changed, and it requires high level of sophistication for the process of evaluation and assessment. So even the assessment and evaluation has to be completely modified. This is another disadvantage. So disagreement and ambiguity about the assessment and assessment tools also is another disadvantage when we talk about the disadvantages of OBE. Because this is a new system, it will take time and effort, but this has to be there in the engineering institutes because we have to be in standard with foreign universities. That is why outcome based education has been implemented, so that our graduation degree is globally valid. So let us see some definitions about which are used in outcome based education. So first one is vision. It gives big picture idea of what you want to achieve over a long period of time. So generally vision is the idea which has to be achieved over a long period of time. Whereas mission is general statement how you will achieve your vision. Okay. So it is the idea with which you can achieve your vision. So that is called vision. And then goal. So goal, it is a mile you need to meet to achieve your vision. So you have to follow some goals. Suppose in the first year of engineering, you have to complete some courses in order to meet your vision. Your vision is to become an entrepreneur. You have to complete some courses in the first year. You have to complete some more courses in the second year. So this is a goal. And objective, a specific time sensitive statement for achieving your goals over a period of time. So if you want to achieve a skill, you have to learn some course. So the course may be divided into different courses. In each semester, you have to study one after the other. So this kind of goals are called as objectives. So you have to study all the courses in order to achieve a particular skill. And then outcome. For outcome, it focuses on what you expect the students to do during the instruction time and what to expect from the students at the end of the program. So if a course has 6 outcomes, we generally have 6 outcomes in our institute. So each outcome will tell you what you are going to learn and what you are going to attain or attain the knowledge after the completion of the particular course. So this is different definitions used in OBE. And then POs and PEOs. So POs stands for program outcomes. It is a statement outlining those knowledge, skill, attitude, values and behavior that are expected from a student by the time they graduate. So any program outcome will tell the student what they are going to be after their graduation. So what behavior is expected from their graduation. So that is program outcome. And then we have another thing called program educational objective. It describes what graduates are expected to attain within few years after graduation. It is based on the needs of constituencies and goals. So whereas program educational objective will tell you what the student has gained after some years after graduation. Okay. So if I have completed my graduation now, and after 5 years of graduation, what I have attained, what I have learned from the industry, how my engineering education has helped me. This is called program educational objective. And then we have some more definitions. They are Bloom's taxonomy. So when we are using this outcome based education, we should always use this Bloom's taxonomy in the process of assessment. So there are different knowledge levels for any student. Depending on each knowledge level and depending on in which year the student is studying a particular course, the Bloom's taxonomy level has to be decided. This Bloom's taxonomy was created by Benjamin Bloom in the year 1956, and it is published as a kind of classification of learning outcomes and objectives. So Bloom's taxonomy will tell you how each course how each course has to be studied, or each course will tell you what is the level of its Bloom taxonomy. So the framework was revised in 2001 by Lauren Anderson and David Krathwohl, yielding the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So this revised Bloom's taxonomy is the one which we are following now. So this Bloom's taxonomy plays an important role while writing the course outcomes and writing the questions for the assessment as well. When we ask a question to the student about a particular topic in the course, you should have a understanding of the Bloom's taxonomy. You should use the keywords which are related to a particular level of understanding. So the student will have different levels of understanding depending on which we have to ask a particular question. So depending on the level, we should change the question. We'll see what are those levels in the coming slide. The most significant change to cognitive domain was the removal of synthesis and the addition of creation as the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy. In the year 2001, the Bloom's taxonomy has been revised, and the cognitive domain synthesis was replaced with creation, which is a major change which we are going to study in a bit. So this is the Bloom's taxonomy level. So this is the old version and this is the new version as well. We are studying the new version. We will try to understand how the new version is affecting. So these are the different levels. Initially, we will start at the bottom. So any engineering course will be starting at the remembering level. We have to remember some topics. We have to remember some definitions. And then after that, we have the second level, that is understanding level. We have to understand a particular concept. While remembering is the one where we will recite a particular definition, where understanding is where we will understand the actual concept and the history behind the concept. And after that, the third level is application, where we will apply this particular topic, where we will apply this particular knowledge in a application mode. And then analyzing. The next level is analyzing. To analyze a particular skill or a particular experiment. If we did an experiment in the applying mode, we have to understand this analyzing so that we can get a clear idea about it. And then evaluating. So evaluating itself states that we have to evaluate how the knowledge I have gained, I am using it. So how I am using the knowledge. So that is evaluated. And finally creating. So we have to practically develop a new model or a new demo experiment so that all the knowledge I have learned is being used to create something new. If an invention is already there in the bag, already there in the time, it is not created, it is just studied. If you create your own invention, then you have attained the level of creating. So these are the 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Depending on each level, we have to modify our teaching learning methodology, and we have to modify our course outcomes and the questions as well. So these are the 12 graduate attributes which are to be followed by any engineering graduate in India. So they are the first one is engineering knowledge. The student should have some engineering knowledge, and then he has the ability he has to develop an ability of problem solving and problem analysis. And then third PO is third graduate attribute is design and development of solutions. If a engineering problem is there, he should have the ability to design and develop a solution, and then conduct investigations of complex problems. He should be able to conduct investigations of complex problems also. Not only designing a new solution, he should design a new problem. And then modern tool usage. So he should not refine or confine to all the textbooks. He should be knowing some softwares where he can use these modern tools for application of those engineering knowledge. The engineer and the society. He should be learning the engineering to help the society or to come up with the society after his completion of his graduation. And then environment and sustainability. So he has to use this engineering knowledge to attain the environment, to protect the environment, and to attain the sustainability of the environment. Okay. And then ethics. This is very important. Every engineering field will have a bad way and good way. So always the ethical way will gives you a better future compared to a unethical way. We take the example of hacking. We have ethical hacking and unethical hacking. So ethical hacking is the one which will stop the unethical hacking. We should know how to hack in order to stop them. So in that manner, every engineering course and engineering topic has to be learned and it should be used in an ethical way. Individual and teamwork. The student should able to work in group as well as individually. He should be able to work in group. That is anyway it is required. Even if he is working individually, he should has the ability to work on his own. And then communication. So communication is the another important component of engineering graduate attribute, where every engineering graduate should be able to communicate properly. Project management and finance. So he should know how to manage a project and how to manage finance so that he would be able to work in a wide range of fields. And then lifelong learning. So the last graduate attribute is lifelong learning, where the student be able to learn throughout his life. He has to learn entire life. So he should not stop learning after the engineering graduation. He might learn new thing every day. So this lifelong learning also has to be attained by the engineering graduate after completing his graduation. So let us see, these are the course outcomes that are written for the course Elements of Mechanical Engineering. Whereas the first course outcome directly relates to module 1, where the student would be able to understand the concepts of sources of energy and basics of thermodynamics. So this is the outcome that you are going to learn after the module 1 is completed. After module 1 has been completely studied, you will understand the concept of sources of energy, how they are classified and applied, and you will understand the basics of thermodynamics and how they are applied in the engineering field. And then second CO is demonstrate the working of boilers, turbines and their classification. So while studying the second module, you will be able to understand the working of boilers, the working of turbines and their classification and their applications in the industry. And then the third module will have two COs, third and fourth, these combinedly written for third module. So you will understand the basic properties, composition and industrial applications of engineering materials. And the second one is the various joining processes of welding, soldering and brazing will be studied by the end of the third module. And then this is for fourth module. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So fourth module will illustrate the working of lathe machine and milling machines. The different milling machines will be studied by the end of this particular course, by the end of this module. And then we have fifth module, that is understand the concepts of advanced manufacturing systems in CNC and robotics. So when we are completing the course, that is Elements of Mechanical Engineering, you should be able to have all these outcomes. Each module has a particular outcome which has to be attained after the completion of the course. So this is all about the outcome based education, and the course outcomes particularly that are related to elements of mechanical engineering. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.